Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hispanic Patriot Podcast, a weekly podcast broadcast live from a secret, undisclosed location here in the heart of the great state of Colorado. My name is Nicholas Ross, and without further ado, I give you all the Hispanic Patriots, proudly from Colorado, and the host and patron of the show, Hugo Chavez-Rey. Give it up for the Hispanic Patriots.
Well, hello, everyone. We've had quite a chore here tonight. We started the show and we had our guest was not appearing in our guest room, so we've had some platform issues tonight.
But they're all fixed just for you right now, so we're going to jump right to it.
So we're going to go ahead and restart this thing, and we apologize to those who were on the show, and hopefully you'll come back. And if not, you'll be able to watch it once this thing goes up on the restream. I'm sorry, on the platforms. So without further ado, we're not going to waste much time here. We're going to get our guest tonight is Christy Peterson, who is a candidate for Congressional District 1 here in Denver. And she wants to represent the people of Colorado and in Washington, D.C. As some of you may or may not know, of course, 15-term incumbent Diana DeGette was unseated by a very radical candidate. Seems to be a disease going around the country. A DSA candidate. We won't even mention her name, but Christy is a Colorado native. She's a construction accountant, designer, graphic designer, and a holistic doctor in training, which I didn't know. Raised in the construction world, she's currently working in the construction industry, and she promotes Republican principles of low taxes, limited government, and peace through strength. As she wants to have safe cities, affordability for citizens, and a public education system that focuses on core curriculum. Now, she is, by all indications, the resistance from the progressive left and the DSA agenda. So, ready to serve her district with local improvements, more opportunities, and a brighter future. Christy is a down-to-earth Christian lady who wants well-being and freedom for all. So let's welcome Christy to the Hispanic Patriot Podcast.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Christy.
Hello.
Introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Christy Peterson, a successful businesswoman, accountant, construction manager, working the last 15 years managing payroll, being a public notary, and trusted fiduciary partner. My knowledge of payroll taxes and operating businesses as an everyday American worker makes me the perfect fit to represent Denver in the U.S. House of Representatives. Born and raised right here in the Front Range of Colorado, I have generations of family roots right here. I have generations of family that have served in our military. I love my country. I am 44 years old, a strong, resilient Christian lady. Colorado has really changed in 30 years. I have seen it. Crime and unsafe streets in Denver threaten our right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We must regain sanctity in our streets to cleanliness, a Colorado pureness to welcome more economic opportunity for all people. I am pro-police, backing our peace officers with my full support. I am pro-economic growth. Our people need access to more businesses. Let's have more friendly visitors to our amazing state. Colorado is the best state in America. The beauty of our landscapes, the weather, the most amazing people, the mix of cultures is incredible. Everybody wants to be here. In Congress, I will keep taxes low, evaluate spending, save funds, reduce debt, increase American self-sufficiency in energy and manufacturing, make schools safe, stand strong with our allies in Israel, and provide peace through strength for all. These principles help us all thrive in work and life. Join us at christyforamerica.us.
All right. Well, that's a good introduction.
I'd say so.
We believe that just because you're a newcomer doesn't mean that you can't be an effective leader in this district. So we're going to be watching your campaign with great interest, and as you know, we've got a lot of people behind you, and we hope to get more to help you. As you go tomorrow night to Sabor, you're going to get exposed to probably about 4,000 Hispanics. And it is the event of the year for the Hispanic community. So I was happy to see that we were able to get you a pass to the event, and you'll have to come back and report to us your experience, because it is a one of a kind experience. And like I mentioned to you earlier, go hungry, because there's lots of food and drink, and you'll get to taste cuisine from all of Latin America. So it's a great event, a lot of fun. But let's get into your interview, and give me why should the voters believe that 2026 represents a genuine opportunity for Republicans in a district that has historically voted Democratic?
Yeah, well, basically, the Republicans are the common sense candidate. We just want freedom, we want safety. And my opponent is really kind of so far left that it's a little bit crazy. The things they want are just way too out there. And so we're asking people to come on over to the Republican Party. We're welcoming, we're warm, and we think we're more common sense. We represent the working people. We want more opportunities for all families and businesses.
Yep. And, I've lived in Denver for the last 16 years now. I used to live in Douglas County, but I can tell you that in my opinion, in my experience, there has never been a bigger contrast of candidates in this district. Diana DeGette was a lefty, but she wasn't a radical lefty like this candidate is. These people coming from the DSA are just, I don't know, beyond description. I don't know what planet they're from, but apparently it's catching on in different parts of the country. And hopefully we can stop it from catching on here in this district. So let's talk a little about your vision for America. What is your vision for Colorado's first congressional district over the next 4 years? I'm sorry, actually 2 years, because it is a 2-year term. I'm thinking Senate there, but 2-year term for representatives. What would be your vision for the next 2 years?
Yeah, the biggest thing is definitely safety. We want to be able to enjoy Denver again. Nobody wants to go down there because there's crime, and you just never know what's going to happen. Our sanctuary city policies are destroying Colorado, not just Denver, but all the big cities that have to put up with this sanctuary policies that allow criminals. There's people on the streets that are dangerous, they're violent, they are attacking people, and you just never know. And we want safety back in Denver again, and whatever it takes, more police officers, more safety officer, peace officers. We want it clean. Businesses want a clean city so their customers can come and actually enjoy and spend time on 16th Street Mall. It's been a while, I think, since, at least probably 10 years since we can really enjoy our downtown. So safety, we want a better economy. We want more businesses to come back. People are leaving Colorado because of overregulation, because our schools are indoctrinating our children. They're teaching them unusual things about gender that we just think are ludicrous. And We just want to be happy and feel safe in our home.
Okay. Nick, get some?
That's a beautiful vision, I have to say. So I want to sort of drill down into the political weeds a little bit because this is something that is a fight, is something where you often have to define yourself by your values. And from my understanding, you've often described yourself as a constitutional conservative. And I wanted to ask, what does that mean in practical terms? How do you think that the Constitution can help be a roadmap for the vision that you talk about, and how are you going to get Democrats to understand that?
Sure. Well, we really like things like our rights to protect and defend ourselves without infringement. And here in Colorado, we are constantly those rights are constantly being eroded. And we're very upset about this. We should be able to defend ourselves no matter what. And so that, and just following the Constitution in general, we feel like there's an attack against it, and an attack against us, and an attack against freedom, against women, against families, even children, against masculinity. And, we just want the craziness to stop.
Okay. Well, I think the common sense approach is definitely, I mean, right on the money, because we need to get back to common sense. I mean, the other side basically wants to eliminate everything that's near and dear to our hearts in this country. When they go around talking about eliminating the Senate, packing the Supreme Court, adding the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico as states so that they can pack the Senate and gain more seats, defunding the police, abolishing ICE, opening the borders. I mean, why don't they just say goodbye to America? I mean, that's basically what they're saying, and this is why I think this message has to get out to the general public, because unfortunately, a lot of people, live by sound bites on the 6 o'clock news, and they're not aware of some of these things that take place. So, how do you propose to get that message out to the voters? And in particular, this district is heavily Hispanic. So, I think, and not, I don't think, I know Hispanics in general are conservatives. So, if we educate those people who are not, say, privy to all the happenings in the political world, I think that you've got a great shot at earning their trust and their vote, because nobody wants crazy. I mean, if they really know the truth, then they don't want crazy. So, speak a little bit about your campaign strategy, so to speak, and what you're going to do to prioritize getting that message out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so far I've just been talking with groups. I go to all my House district meetings. I've been speaking with HOAs and community groups, and I send out mailers, drop off flyers at people's doorstep, and just kind of give a comparison of what common sense versus crazy looks like. I mean, or common sense versus communism. And letting people know that, we want families, we want safe streets, we are pro-police, we want orderly schools and things to work smoothly. And, the DSA platform is talking about no police, no prisons, no borders, no Senate, no presidency, no Supreme Court. And you're like, what? Like, who are you? And we just can't sign on to that.
Well, we got to call a spade a spade. They're communists, basically. I mean, there's no hiding. They're not even hiding from it anymore. They're promoting communism, some under the banner of socialism, but they've gone full commie now. And you've got the people on the left, and even some people on the right, unfortunately, that are posting on social media and say, "Oh, the big red scare." acting like it's not real. And to me, that's scarier and more dangerous than some of these radicals that are out there promoting these ideas. So I think the messaging is going to be clear, and we've got to get volunteers out there. We got to get young people knocking on those doors and making sure that we get you appearing on as many places as we can. Hopefully on some TV places, even if you have to uh, let Mr. What's his face, Mr. Lefty
Clark
himself,
or Mr. Clark,
Mr. Clark. Yes,
Oh,
I know that would be what do you call painful, but
I'm sure that Ms. Nunes has much more pleasant Democrats to speak to, because that is something
yeah,
that I think your campaign really speaks to, is that you have to win over Democrats almost exclusively, because the Republicans in Denver are very Republican. They're very supportive. Just ask Hugo over here; he's seen the loyalty. But especially for young people, they're so attracted to the DSA platform. They're so attracted to democratic socialism. And for us Hispanics, there's also sort of a national pull against communism. So many of our countries that our families came from have suffered so heavily under communism. A little bit of context for our audience is that I would actually, if I ever had the chance to speak to your opponent, I would ask, because famously your opponent is her ancestry is from Ethiopia, and Ethiopia suffered very heavily under the communist dirge, is what it was called. They literally took their king and beat him to death, and dishonored a tradition that goes back all the way to King Solomon. That's their tradition. So for many of us, many from Cuba, Venezuela, Mexico, and other places, we have direct experience with communism. So I would ask you, how do you tap in to those feelings where, what people might be attracted to something that their ancestors suffered under? Do you find that an easier conversation to have with older people versus younger people? And what will you do to bridge that gap, to help the young understand the dangers of this ideology and the things that they're pushing in the DSA agenda?
mm-hmm. Yeah, well, when I'm around my Asian community, I go to this really fun night Asian market off of Federal in Mississippi.
Oh,
And
nice.
they love the Republicans, they love the conservatives. They say, we don't like communism. Our parents went through
yeah,
it.
they
And
especially don't like it.
yeah, and they're so supportive. They're having a great time. We love going there and having a good dinner and doing karaoke. And
Oh, very nice.
but I feel like our younger generation, we haven't really seen it very much. We don't know what it is. And I think the reason why younger people are kind of drawn maybe towards it is because they're having a hard time finding work. They're
Yeah,
not
that's true.
able to get a job, and that's their problem.
Well,
And they're thinking that the government should start to pay for everything. The government is going to be their savior, and that's just not the way it works. I just don't think that's realistic.
And if it
and
does, there's very much strings attached, and that's definitely something. The big danger is the strings attached.
if they think they're having trouble finding work now, imagine if this radical group gets their way. Um,
Finding work, try finding food.
yeah,
But
exactly. Look at the. All you have to do is show them some videos of Cuba and Venezuela, and that should cure that ache that they think that.
well, Hugo, a lot of them would say though that their conditions is the cause of American imperialism. That's what they would say, and
Uh,
that transition us to a big distinction between both Diana DeGette and Miss Kiros and yourself, which is the very contentious point of Israel, which is that she famously was very much for embargo, very much anti Israel. For me to be anti a country that has no hostility to us, a country that works with us generally, seems like a distraction. Do you find that this line of attack is a distraction when people talk about the Republican Party and its closeness to Israel? Shouldn't we be talking about jobs here in America rather than foreign dislikes of governments? What do you think about that? Do you think that people are, especially in the DSA, are too focused on these anti-Semitic talking points, or do you think that that they're serious? Do you think that they actually feel that somehow complaining about Israel will help our economy?
I think you're absolutely right. I think it's more just they wanna complain. And they want to divide us, that's for sure. They want to do anything they can to stop what we're doing. And I know that we stand strong with Israel. Those are our biggest allies in the Middle East, and they always will be. And I'm very happy to say that. And I think them as using those talking points are it's sad, really, that they go on like that.
Yeah, I've often heard the phrase "jobs, not Jews, please." I think it might be the it's the economy, stupid of our age, in some ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I talk about economy so much. I mean, everything that we have here in America is because we worked for it. We went to school, we learned skills, and we work every day. And here we are, with these blessings, and that doesn't come without dedication and hard work. And you pass that on to your children, and that's what I try to promote.
Well, we know that Hugo has definitely lived that out. So why don't we kick it back to you?
Yeah, well, one of the key issues, and I think the focus needs to be on the key issues. And I hear different groups and different um, priorities stated by different people, and some believe, of course, the economy and jobs and housing. Those are the issues I think that are hardest hitting in this area for sure. Colorado in general, but this goes back to the younger folks, because the younger people, um, I think, are key to uh, turning this insanity around. Um, we need to reach those younger folks and meet them where their thought process is, and talk to them, like you said, in the common sense manner, and say, let's sit down and talk and do an analysis of, if you support and engage in trying to promote these kind of policies, what are the results going to be versus the common sense approach, which is to basically be able to create better opportunities, um, and make sure that the younger people understand that the older generation do care about them, because they are the future. And I have children, I have grandchildren, I have great grandchildren. Okay,
Yes, me too.
No, you don't. So
But yeah,
so basically, it's about teaching the principles of free enterprise and uh, personal responsibility, and that's what I think is lacking in the younger generation. Because I was on a Facebook group recently that is about boomers and versus millennials, and one of the things that they were saying was that the younger generation wants to blame the boomers for the current state of the nation. And of course, you go back and forth on that. But the thing is that we have children, we have grandchildren, and they're the ones that are going to be suffering from the decisions coming from Congress and our leaders, and of course the state legislature, which is another topic. But when you go to Washington, okay, what would be, let's say, what would be one of your first priorities besides getting your feet wet? And as I've heard from other Congress people who have gone to Washington for the first time, it's an eye opener, because when you arrive, you're going to be, low person on the totem pole, so to speak. And so, what would be your attitude and your priority going into Washington uh, when you're elected here in Congressional District 1?
Yeah. So, well, the committees that I want to serve on are budget, education and workforce, and small business.
Right?
And As far as other goals, I would really like to dig into sanctuary policy quite a bit more, because I think it's affecting not just Denver, but pretty much every big city in America. And it's fostering people that have broken the law, and it's hurting our American people. And I think something needs to be done to help our citizens more.
And that's happening in blue states, of course. Red states don't have that problem because they don't put up with sanctuary policies. I
Funny
think,
how that works.
yeah. So the there's a disconnect, I think, a lot of times from people who live in the state and then they don't understand how Washington works. Okay, it has to be a mixture of cooperation and working together. So uh, I'm not saying we can't work with people on the other side, but I believe firmly that there are some radicals who really don't care about common sense or doing what's best for the country. All their agenda, to me, as I've seen it, is basically to create chaos and divide the country. So, how would you push back against that um, in a Congress that is right now majority Republican? And I pray that we remain majority Republican, because if we don't, we're in for a really bad 2 years in the last 2 years of President Trump's um, administration. So I want to ask you directly, are you an America First representative?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm born here. All my family's American. I mean, yeah, America first, 100%. Yeah.
Okay. So
Beautiful.
how would you respond to someone that would come up to you and say that, you know, you don't know what you're talking about, and that you don't have the experience and you're just a brainwashed right winger?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's fine. I just laugh, usually. And I think asking why is always the big question. Why do people do the things they do? What would cause people to not have the American people in their best interests? Who are they trying to please? And it's just like, there could be outside sources. Maybe they have some kind of connection to a different government, a different country, and they're not even really serving the American people very well. And I don't think people like that should be in our government.
I meant to that because this is something that I've seen since the beginning of the Obama administration is this the infiltration, and we can say this is China is very, very heavily involved in creating the communists in America. I mean, they're the ones who are the communists, the last communist holdout in the world. Russia and Iran work together to disseminate propaganda and information into our country. So I'm glad that you're not afraid to call that out and to say that we do have enemies in the world and they do fund people and they do support people like your opponent, it should be said, because a lot of those interests, very much in the far left, align with the BRICS nations. We saw that in Brazil, where they threw the right wing opposition in jail. That's not what a democratic country does. So, ma'am, I definitely commend that. You're fighting against a tyrannical government, at least a influence of our country that wants to make a tyrannical government. So what I want to ask is, how do you find the courage to do that? We often ask in the Republican Party, we want masculinity, and often, it takes conservative women to open the floodgates to that because we've been so indoctrinated against that, especially us young people. So how do you build that courage? How do you build that base of power to go to Washington and stay independent? What's going to keep you independent when you get to Washington?
That's a great question. I want to say I love masculinity. Our guys out here that are, helping people and serving their families. I'm so gracious. And for me, I'm always guided by the Holy Spirit. You know, I thank you. Yeah, amen. Jesus Christ is my savior. I pray, I study scripture, and I just want to do the right thing. I have no special interests. I'm for the people. And that's really what guides me, and if anybody says anything, I just laugh. It's like whatever.
After all, who else can by worrying add a single hour to our lives?
Definitely. Yeah.
All right, Hugo, do you have a question about the Hispanic community? I believe we're getting to.
Yes,
very important for us here on the Hispanic Patriot Podcast.
That's near and dear to us, of course. So, you're going tomorrow to go to that event, which, as I said, and I don't hyperbolize when I say that it is the event of the year for Hispanics in Colorado and Denver in particular. Mike Ferrofino is the chairman of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and he was gracious enough to invite you after I told him about you, and he's anxious to meet you there. So I hope you get the chance to meet him, because he knows the landscape, and there's a lot of the Democrats out there who are really on the fence this time around, because, like I said, a lot of the Hispanics are not for this radical agenda that this your opponent is going to be promoting. So when you go to talk to the Hispanic voters who traditionally vote Democratic but are considering conservative candidates, what message do you have for them, and what would you say to one of them, and in trying to attract their vote, and making sure that they understand the seriousness of this election? Because in CD1 I'm talking about in particular, but there's a real clear choice. Like I said before, this has never been such a clear dichotomy between candidates that I've ever seen. One is basically promoting communist policies, and one is promoting common sense. And I think that you would have the upper hand with a lot of these Hispanic voters if you take the time to, number one, listen, because they want people that will listen to what is important to them. So I'm going to encourage you to walk away with three things when you talk to the people. Ask them the question and then listen instead of talking. So that's a campaign strategy that I think is very effective. So how do conservative principles create opportunities for working families and immigrants who came legally and also are promoting the future generations? What would you say to them?
I would say, as a Republican, we really value family, faith, and freedom. We want everybody to be able to start businesses, start their own business, whatever it may be, and to grow and to not pay a lot of taxes and not have a lot of regulation and not be worried about their children being indoctrinated in schools and whatever kind of gender craziness is going on in schools. So, I would invite them over to the Republican Party and say, hey, join us. We believe our values align.
Absolutely. And the other thing that I would emphasize is that that they came here for a reason. And you're going to run across people that are from all areas of Latin America tomorrow. And in particular, the Venezuelans, the Colombians, and Ecuadorians that come here for opportunities. I would pose the question, why would you vote for someone who wants to espouse policies that ruin their countries?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you come to America and vote for something like that? It just boggles the mind.
It's the biggest question by far. It very much is.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't do it in a confrontational manner, but making sure that they see that you.
Hugo, I don't think Christy here has the ability to be confrontational in a negative way.
No,
Because
no,
I
no.
wanted to say, I very much appreciate, just to go on a quick tangent, I appreciate her demeanor of all things. Because it's very difficult to, like you said, just keep a smile, keep laughing through these difficult times and through the difficult race that you have. But, that I think that that's definitely the thing that people want to see. They're tired of their politicians setting their hair on fire and claiming crisis after crisis, which is what the DSA do constantly, which is what people like your opponent do constantly. So that is that. If I could just bring one question in there, your positivity seems like a central part of your campaign. Is that fair to say? And what is your feedback from these, very negative, angry Democrats sometimes? Do they appreciate the fact that you're so positive, that you have a positive vision for the country? Does that help open them up? Do you see that, especially with the Hispanic folk that you meet?
I would say so. Because they're angry, and I think anger is part of their strategy. They get people all riled up, and then they're like, and I just don't have that. Like the way I talk is the way I talk if I'm at work or if I'm at church or if I'm with my buddies. I'm just straightforward, and I think people appreciate that, and we have to have hope, and we have to believe that the Lord is going to help us, and the things that we need are going to come, from our Heavenly Father. We will be provided with our needs, and we shouldn't worry. We should move forward in faith.
That's a beautiful message for America.
Thank
Yes,
you.
the smile is critical, obviously. The one of the things, I don't know if you got a chance to see your opponent's acceptance, or what do you call victory speech, I guess, at the primary election. I don't know if you managed to watch that, but she sounded exactly like AOC. All she did was scream and talk about what they're going to do to America, to Colorado and America, and we're here to basically take over. I'm ad-libbing, but she was just screaming at the top of her lungs. That's their strategy. Is they think that if they scream the loudest, that people will flock to them. But the only ones that flock to them are people that are easily led. That are not thinking about what they're saying and what it would mean for them as U.S. citizens. So that's what has to be, I think, promoted. Um, Let me ask you this: have you had any thoughts about um, going out and talking to some of the Get supporters?
Absolutely.
Have you
Yeah.
run across any already?
I have, like, right after the primary, I had a lot of people from the Jewish community reaching out to me, and they said, we want to support you, give us your signs. We're going to put your yard signs up. Like, let's work together. And I didn't ask what affiliation they were, but they said, we go to the temple and things. So I'm
So they reached out to you?
They reached out to me, yes. They're
Awesome.
not just one person, a good amount of people.
That's
and I'm
great.
assuming they are Democrats. So
Statistically, Jewish people do tend to vote Democrat, and that is a trend, like with Hispanics and blacks, that is changing largely due to the extremist rhetoric of the Democrat Party.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I mentioned it to you already, but I'm gonna throw out a little challenge to you. I think you should call Diana DeGette directly and have a meeting with her, have coffee, and just talk to her one-on-one, because I firmly believe that she doesn't want this opponent of yours to be successful because of what they did to her, but more importantly, as radical as Diana is, um, she's nowhere near what this opponent of yours is now.
Mm-hmm.
So I would encourage you to find a way to have a meeting with Diana and see if maybe she can point you to some voters who would support you over this new opponent that unseated her unceremoniously. So
I would love to.
Yep.
Christy seems like the kind of person that isn't afraid to meet anybody, and that with her district, that's important. But I wanted to commend that because I've often been an advocate for reaching Democrats and making them into Republicans, helping them understand that their home could be here with us. So we're definitely encouraging that because in our community, the Hispanic community, it's critical for, we believe, saving America. As Hugo likes to remind everyone, there are 300,000 unregistered Hispanics who do not vote, and the mobilization of that, especially in Denver, could be critical to elections like yours. So we hope very much to, promote this interview to our community and showing them that there is a lot to learn about Christy Peterson, who is running for Congressional District 1.
Thank
Yeah, and
you, Nick.
the other thing I was going to mention is, have you heard anything about a potential debate?
Oh, yes.
It has been brought up. I really, I really don't know if I want to be in the same room with some kind of socialist, communist, Marxist. I mean, that's just.
I
think she'd be more scared to be in the room with you than the other way around, to be honest.
Yeah, you know what they say about Satan, right? But no, I really think that if you could get a debate, I would take it because the contrast would be so glaring between the two that it would turn a lot of heads. And,
I would agree with that, actually. I think a lot of people would see the contrast with that. Our young generation has kind of gotten used to seeing, people representing America, American women like you, disrespected, and especially by communities which have historically supported the DSA, who have historically supported corruption in our country, like we saw in Minnesota. So, that would be something that I would encourage and, pray for your courage as well, because, we in the youth would like to see, it sounds stereotypical, but a common, very strongly, obviously American mother, American person who is standing up for what we grew up with, for what we believe in, against someone who, as obviously demonstrated, at least in my opinion, that they don't understand what America is. They don't understand how to continue it forward. So that would be a question that I would have, is you seem very committed to the youth, to the next generation, especially, Hispanic youth. They wonder about their future in America, run by these sort of policies. So what would your message be to, young Democrats to have hope in the country and to vote Republican based on that hope? How will you rekindle that? How is that something that is going to be something you strive for?
Yeah, sure. I mean, our young people, I just say, love yourself, study something.
That's very powerful.
Whatever it is, start studying, teach yourself a skill. If it's accounting, maybe it's woodworking, maybe it's auto, maybe it's construction, whatever it is, start learning something, and you can give back to your community and you can start becoming wealthy. One day you're going to buy a home and you're just going to start building. Like, don't give up, keep going, get involved too. Start going to your local county meetings, check out your city and your state meetings and see what's going on there, because, we want our young people involved.
That's a beautiful, positive message. It really is. Especially a lot better message than everything is terrible, abandon ship, which we're getting from both the far left and even some former Republicans. So it's great to hear that positive message.
And I think mixed into that is, you can tap into their complaint, which is that they don't feel listened to, they don't feel heard. And the response to that is, well, the way you can feel listened to and heard is to get involved, and that gives you a voice. And so, you want a seat at the table, you have to go and knock on the door, and say, I have ideas too. And I think that if we can bridge that gap between generations, I think that's going to be a huge advantage going forward, because I forget who it was I was reading the other day. He says, people say, "Well, we need to not listen to these radicals." And he says, "No, we want them to talk louder, because there has never been a greater gift to Republicans than these DSA candidates. It is. I mean, in my history,
Right.
47 plus years in the Republican Party, I have never seen such radical speech. And I grew up in the 60s, so there was radicalism back then, but even then, you didn't hear blatantly people calling for communism as you do now.
No, but
So,
we also on the Republican side have not seen, a very positive, very glowing, blonde American woman and also a goth girl working together, in Denver, trying to flip people Republican. I'm talking, of course, about Kelly Dennison. You two to me are a unique expression of the Republican Party because you're both women. You're both very opposite in terms of aesthetic style, but you're both very positive. You both are, running in Denver, which is such a difficult spot, and yet we're actually getting a lot of attention to both of you because it's such a unique situation. So one thing I wanted to ask that people are dying to know is, how is this experimental? And we call it experimental just because we don't, the Republicans don't usually run candidates like this, and yet they are so effective. They are effective in these areas that are blue, where people can take risks. We see so much corporate by the book stuff in safely red districts or flippable districts, but for districts like yours where candidates like you can thrive. What do you think you are going to do with that experimentality? You going to do things that we've never seen before? Are you not afraid to buck convention in your campaigning? And if so, what is the unique things that we'll see from your campaign that we won't see from any other safer campaigns?
Well, let's see. I mean, I'm not like a very aggressive person, so I get my message out, and that's what it is. If people agree with me or not, it's okay. So, I'll have mailers. I don't know about knocking on doors. To me, I don't like when people knock on my door. I don't care if you're my
It's a
buddy.
lot harder in the city too. It's much harder than in the suburbs here.
Right. So we'll have mailers. We're going to do texting on the phone, probably phone calls, and just community outreach. I mean, I encourage all the young people to get involved. Maybe they can start running for their own positions. You 18 years old, start doing it. I mean, this is a government of the people for the people. That's what I am. I'm just a regular girl, just stepping up because I had a calling, and that's what everybody is. We're all the same.
That's
well,
beautiful.
that's commendable.
Thank you. So next week, go ahead, you go.
No, go ahead. Finish
I
it.
was just going to say next week I will be on the Jeff and Bill show. I'm very excited. I'll be in studio. So that's next Friday at 9:00.
Very nice, folks. So,
yes,
audience, mark your calendar there. That's going to be very important tomorrow. And if you're new, just turning in, make sure you look at Ms. Peterson's website. We're going to have that all below. And if you like the show, please give us a like, subscribe for all kinds of interviews from all kinds of wonderful, awesome people, and behind-the-scenes information in Colorado politics you won't get anywhere else.
Yes, we're in the season of interviews, so we have several lined up here over the next few weeks. Including Mr. Ryan Clark from CD6 next week. And,
is that Jason? Jason Clark?
Or Jason Clark, I'm
Jason.
sorry.
Yeah.
Jason Clark from CD6. And then right after Labor Day, we are going to actually have the thorn in the side of some of the people in the Republican Party. We're going to have the Lopez campaign on an interview, so that should be interesting. But let's slide into, before we close out. Let's slide into some fun things. We're going to do a little lightning round with you. So we have 5 lightning round questions. They all require short answers. So I will start with one, and then Nick will do 2, and so forth. We'll alternate. We'll tag team you. All right. Number 1, one word that best describes your leadership style.
Positive.
Love it. What is the first bill that you'd like to sponsor when you get to Congress?
The SAVE Act, Save America Act.
Beautiful.
All right. What is the biggest challenge facing Colorado today?
Sanctuary policies.
Okay.
Immigration is key, folks. We have to remember that. Which constitutional principle most needs defending in this country? It's hard to pick with all of them under attack so much.
I know, right? Our right to free speech.
Oh, yeah, that's
all right.
That's the truth.
So, 1A. All right. Finish this sentence. America succeeds when
people stand up.
Very good.
I like that.
All right. You did well. Those are sometimes those stump people.
I like his answer. So
we're going to give you an opportunity. First of all, we want to thank you for joining us today. We appreciate your willingness to discuss the issues and your vision for Colorado's 1st Congressional District. We also encourage voters to learn about all candidates, review their positions, and most importantly, participate in the upcoming election. So give us a closing statement that you would like the audience to hear. And I think that before the election, we'll probably have you on one more time so that we can keep you fresh in the minds of the folks out there. And be sure to keep us abreast of your campaign as it evolves so that we can get it out to the public and help support you. So give us your closing statement.
All right. I am so grateful for this opportunity to speak about my vision for Denver and our country. Join us at christyforamerica.us as we stand for our rights for safety, clean streets, economic opportunity, and safe education. My passion for well-being, serving others, staying on budgets, makes me the right choice for Denver, Colorado Congressional District 1. Vote Common Sense Christy. Send me to DC for your best interests. To host your town halls. To guide our constituents at the VA, IRS, and Social Security. My opponent is a DSA. I ponder her love for my country. I am authentic, grassroots, an American patriot defending our Constitution from enemies, foreign and domestic. Send me to DC. Thank you.
All right. Common Sense Christy. Thank you for joining the Hispanic Patriot Podcast tonight. We apologize for the earlier snafus, if you will.
It just shows that we can all roll with the punches.
We can roll with the punches, and this will be on all the platforms. And feel free to share them far and wide. If you need any links or downloads, let us know, and we'll get them to you as well. So thank you again, and we wish you the best. God bless you, and make sure to report back to us about your experience at Sabor tomorrow.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
All right.
Adios.
Good night.
Have a good night. All right, that was Christy Peterson, folks.
Christy Peterson.
Christy Peterson.
You know, she's the best way I can put it, she's a breath of fresh air.
I would agree with that. No, I mean that even on our own side, there's so much doomsaying, even from our best people, and we do love it. We need it, but it's so wonderful to see someone so positive, who's just sort of a light going through the darkness like that. I think we need more of that. I think America has very much built itself as that shining lighthouse kind of idea. So why not put that lighthouse on wheels and, put it right towards where all the cockroaches are?
I think President Reagan would have loved Christy.
I really agree with that. That, you know what? Yeah, that does remind me of it. It might be a little too much, maybe but to call her a female Ronald Reagan energy, I think I'm going to put it there. I'm going to go that far. because again, he was his positivity in the midst of when humanity was at the closest stage of killing itself in the Cold War was really commendable. So to see her smiling through this time of utter hell and demonic occupation, it's very, like you said, it's a breath of fresh air.
And Ronnie, Ronnie smiled a lot too.
He did.
He was very positive and upbeat, and that's why I think he was so beloved.
It's true.
And why he won 2 massive landslides in this country. Too bad he couldn't have served for 3.
No, but it just shows you if you can smile in the face of a nuke, you can do anything.
Yep, but he was also a tough guy, and
Very
I think deep down Christy is tough.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't want to tick her off. Like she seems like the kind of person where it's like I wouldn't want to push her, and I think that's the thing we'll see constantly in America going forward is regular people being pushed too far. We've seen it so much in our media and culture. It's part of being American to not give in to bullies. And I think the nicer an American is, the less they give in to bullies. That's what we're all about.
Yep. So I wanna promote just briefly the Sabor event tomorrow night. If you haven't ever been to one and you're interested in seeing the premier Hispanic event in Denver, I encourage you to go. You can go to the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce website, and you can still get tickets, and you won't be sorry. The food is amazing. Everything's included. So unlike other events where you buy a ticket and then you got to pay for food and drinks, no. At this event, once you buy your ticket, everything's included.
That's a beautiful thing, and that's very much something that I would like to see more of in America.
Yep. So I encourage you, whether you're Hispanic or not, I think you will come away from that event with a totally different perspective on the Hispanic culture, because you'll get to meet people from all over, and I think it'll be a good event. So my friend Mike Ferrafino has done a good job with the chamber, and I wanted to help promote that for him. Let's see. There was a couple of quick.
Well, while Hugo is talking, we will make this point. Over 45 live musicians, 35 restaurants that are participating, 40 creative artists. Guys, Sabor is an amazing event in the garden space of the Botanical Gardens of Denver. You won't want to miss it.
Absolutely. So we've got some events coming up in the state. The state fair's coming up at the end of the month, I believe, or first part of September. If you've never been, it's a great event. There's a couple of parades that they hold. A lot of livestock. But if you're
it's what we're known for.
If you're a fan of fairs, I recommend that you try to go to that, because there's plenty for everybody at that event. And then there's some other events that are coming up. So be watching on our Facebook page, and we'll try to update you on some of the events that are coming up. And we hope that you have a good season going into the last month of summer.
The last 100 days of election insanity as well.
Oh, well, actually, we're less than 100 days away.
Less than 100 days. Are you believe this?
And remember that this year, the ballots will be going out a week earlier than usual. So technically, the campaigns barely have under 2 months left to get their message out and attract the voters.
So you hear that, candidates out there? You better be contacting me and Hugo to get on the Hispanic Patriot Podcast so that you can get access to the Hispanic community. Because let's be honest, guys, the Hispanic community is going to be key to saving America, and saving the United States is the key to saving this planet. And let me tell you a secret, folks. Saving Colorado is key to saving the United States of America. You hear all about it in all of our episodes we talk about. Watch our backlog. You will not be disappointed. There's always something more to learn about the politics of our beautiful state.
Yep. So without further ado, I think that's pretty much all we've got for this show. Again, in and it'll be on across all our platforms. Thank you for joining us tonight. God bless you. God bless the United States of America and the state of Colorado. We need some activity this election. Let's get out there and vote, folks.
Make it happen.
No matter how you vote, exercise your right. Don't ever let that go by the wayside. So, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week with Mr. Jason Clark from Congressional District.